Welcome back, one and all, to the North American Challengers League presented by Subway. I'm Mazel. I'm joined by Joshi, and we are about to get into our second series of the day. The first one hand-delivered to us in a 3-game series fashion. Now, we'll see if Wildcard versus Supernova delivers just as much.
And this one should definitely feel way more likely to go to Game 3 based on the fact that these two teams are still both trying to find their way into the upper echelons. Now, I remember hearing that there is technically a way for Supernova to actually make it to the first place in the regular season, but they got to start by winning here up against Wildcard, and I believe it has to be a clean win too.
Yeah, it definitely has to be. I think the way this one plans out, it feels a little bit similar to kind of the initial game plans of what we were looking at last series as well. A lot of power for both these two teams comes from their jungle, and synergy in that fashion is important. Speaking of synergy, Wildcard have it pre-built in. 4 members of SLU University is part of this roster, as well as Quacker in the top. They have found a little bit more consistency in some of their playstyles, even though I know you highlighted earlier Winnie on the Volley Bear not having much luck.
That's all right. You don't have to have a good game every single time, as long as you do it often enough. And here with Wildcard, it has been a good season for them. There's always a big conversation around any team like this where their players didn't necessarily do particularly well in previous splits, but this time feels as though everybody has really come alive. And Darkwings, for me, has been one of those players that, kind of like with Jerry, there wasn't huge expectations of him coming in, but he has really outperformed a lot of what we were expecting going into this split.
Looking on the other side as well, we have a Supernova. I think a lot of pieces that make people very excited in the NACL. Diamond, that is a classic photo, by the way.
That's old,
shout
yeah.
out all the way back on Cloud9. But Shochi, a big stunner from last year. Faisal coming over, as well as Kenvi, a big stayer in the PowerPoint of Supernova this year, and very much outspoken about it as well.
Yeah, I really look at this roster, and you have to ask, how is this roster going to do any worse than like upper half of the league, right? You look at everybody on this team, there's so much veterancy coming through here, and I think the biggest question for me as I looked at this was, how well is Shochi going to be doing on a team that's not Cincinnati Fear, where he doesn't have a lot of pressure playing around him? This has definitely been a game where, or a season where he has had to look for more individual plays, and is also looking to be more well-rounded as a player. It's part of why you see things like the karma coming through for him this year.
I'll just say Array still sits as the only player to get a pentakill this split in the NACL. We only have a couple games left in the regular season. I don't know. I have nothing else to speak of, though, in that regard. Wildcard are on the blue side to start it off, so they will ban away the Talia. Again, Talia's just completely focused right now in an ACL, as well as the Darius ban towards Quacker from Supernova on the red side.
Yeah, I mean, Talia as a blind tends to struggle, but does do better when you do not have an Azir able to shut it down. Yeah. The other thing is that banning the Talia relatively early on opens up your own composition a lot. It's a tough blind pick to go for, but as long as it's available to your opponents, you don't want to pick champions that are going to struggle into it. And so, as we look into this one of the things that we'll be looking at for Supernova is how much they actually want to lock down the top side of the map, because Quacker and Darkwings have been some of the best performing individual players on this roster. If you can prevent them from helping out Winnie, you have a lot more tools to start trying to win the game.
I like the kind of focus on those mid-jungle duos a little bit, or even the top jungle duos, as the Rumble ban towards Faisal, but also that Orianna ban towards the Darkwings Winnie combo. Something that I feel like hasn't necessarily kicked off the ground as much. I know when I was talking with Winnie, he's very proud of kind of the way Aaron has stepped up a lot of this split, and I think that carry duo has really shown through. But trying to get stability from the rest of the roster is super important, and we have seen that at some points, right, for Wildcard. Now with the Olaf ban, another one towards the top lane, a lot of comfort picks to be taken away from both these guys, because I think that matchup's gonna be pretty difficult either way. The Ashe is banned away finally by Supernova. We have our first pick for Wildcard, and I think they have a lot of options here. We hear how important B1 is right now.
Twisted Fate is not really one of them, though. Based on the recent changes, this makes a whole lot more sense to me, as they are going to be hovering the Senate, who has had a pretty good split overall, and really unlocks a lot of the things that Doxa likes to play, because Doxa has played basically every single role in professional at this point. Giving him the tools to play whatever he wants really helps out quite a bit.
Just Doxa diffing all over the map, I guess. We'll see if any of those spicy support picks do come through for him. I know against Diamond, another cooker. I feel like a guy who really loves to think about the meta and the way he can impact it is maybe looking for an answer into that. There's still a lot of flexibility for Wildcard and what they want to go in the support role. Something that's not flexible is that Nautilus, because they will get that locked down for Diamond.
I do really like seeing this Nautilus come through in set of matchups, even though if you miss the hooks, Nautilus suffers in this lane because you're like, oh, free soul, thank you. Oh, another free soul for me? Oh, you really shouldn't have. It creates a lot of situations where you can be very aggressive in the bottom lane, and Supernova has been known to look for a lot of different things. Diamond well regards himself as one of the best supports in the league and has for several seasons, and he's almost always lived up to it. This has definitely been an opportunity to try and shut down Aaron and Doxa, who are historically not necessarily the strongest bottom lane, and Doxa switching over to support should mean that Diamond should still understand this matchup better than his opponent.
It would be very okay. We do get it.
Yep.
The Yasuo locked in here for Wildcard. I think still, again, that back to that flexible conversation, still think some flexibility in that regard, but now really looking to tool this composition around the Yasuo.
Yeah. I mean, it's always fascinating to watch this Yasuo come through because, one, there are some players like Busio in support, very good at it. Then there are others like Jan, who is like, I would always ask, why are we playing this? But it is still Wildcard looking at opportunities to create some knockups. The Gragas has already gone over to the other side, or is potentially going over to the other side, and Wildcard currently have nothing outside of Dox himself that can get him set up.
Finally get the Udyr here. I think it'd be hilarious and kind of awesome if Doxa's the one that plays the Yasuo. Bring it back to times before.
I'm expecting it to be.
It'd be pretty fun. We do get that Udyr for the side lane pressure, something we haven't seen as much of a presence today. That maybe is rising as we go later on. The Gragas is locked in though, and a Faisal Classic.
Yeah, I mean, Udyr lost a fair amount of damage and tankiness not that long ago, so it's a lot harder to pilot this. And I know, talking with some of the LCS casters, they've been saying that it has been a big reason why Team Liquid hasn't had as much success is because the Udyr is weaker these days. However, with this Gragas coming through, it is both good with Yasuo and good against it. So I really like this coming out from Supernova, trying to shut that down. It's almost definitely going to be going over to Faisal. But now we got to start looking at what Dark Wings wants to play because he has been one of these players whose laning phase has improved significantly. And going into Shochi, he really wants to try and find a matchup where he can support the very tanky front line and the very big amount of damage that the rest of his composition is going to be doing.
Get that particular focus to the Aurelion Soul here in the second phase. The Karma also going to be banned away, something we've seen a decent amount today towards Shochi, and also would give that Kenvi Shochi combo a really good, powerful start to it. You do wonder now, though, as that Victor comes through, that prevalence of focus on mid lane, what Supernova is trying to plan here for Shochi.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, Dark Wings is rapidly running out of characters, because remember, even though it's not banned, the Azir is not available. That has been Darkwing's best character for basically as long as I've known this player. And the Victor and the Aurelion Soul, we're kind of just like digging into the bottom of the barrel. So the question then becomes, at this point, everything else that Darkwings has played has been a one of. I feel as though Shochi right here
Swain
can play something very aggressive to prevent Darkwings from doing anything.
I want to see Darkwing Swain again. It was some fun times.
It was. I don't know how good it would be this game.
Probably not great, probably not great, but if we're looking at sidekicks, Hui does lock in, so they have so much range on the side of Supernova.
Yeah, and that will help out quite a bit. Now, the one thing they do have to worry about is the fact that Yasuo, with that wind wall, prevents a lot of damage from coming through, and as long as the rest of Wildcard plays around it, they're going to be in a good position. But I really like this hover currently coming out from Wildcard. Dark Wings coming through, or maybe Quacker, actually. Both of them have a lot of tools with this. You can set up for the rest of your team. You have a bunch of melee champions that you can dance around and do a ton of damage to. Wildcard, they're playing a very volatile style game already, and I love what they're currently hovering. They have a lot of tools to be very aggressive into the Supernova composition.
Best defense is a good offense, I guess. Just kill them before they can even be on the map. The only thing I will say, there's only one knockup combo right now, and it's the Fate Sealed into the Yasuo combo. So I don't know.
Sejuani.
We'll see. I guess you have the Arctic Assault down for the Sejuani, but it's just most of the time, a single target. I do want to see what the answer is. Because at some point you got to think, what is the sword to fight the sword? And right now you have a lot of background, a lot of range. And if they get on top of you, it's difficult, as the Kindred is the choice for Kenvi.
Now, this Kindred coming through from Kenvi, on the one hand, it gives you a lot of tools to be aggressive early on, but you don't have priority in the top lane. You have okay priority in the mid lane, but if Hui gets there too early and then Yone shows up behind them, that's a problem. And in the bottom lane, you can fight for priority, but the biggest thing here is that we are looking at another situation where Supernova's side of the map doesn't have a whole lot of support for the Kindred. It's just a Kindred kind of by themselves, and it is going to be on Kenvi to kind of blow up this game, because the Supernova composition does great into most standard compositions, but Wildcard are not playing a standard composition. They're playing Yasuo and Yone in the same comp.
And Doxa is the one on the Yasuo. I get what I asked for, and we get to see Doxa back to his old graces again. A guy who made giant splashes on TSM Academy, I feel like, and then has been taking his ride in Collegiate and finding a lot of success here with the SLU roster itself. But now a team comp that plays so heavily around Winnie, facilitating to the rest of the team.
We'll see how well he's able to do that as we get ready to load into the first game of the day, or of the series, between these two teams.
We're just starting right now.
We're just starting. I hope, nobody remembers the other series, right? We definitely just saw Maryville, basically win a forfeit. No, I'm kidding. Actually, a really good series from Cincinnati.
Really
but now,
series,
Supernova, they're going to be coming in. They're trying to defend their opportunity to get first still. And I'm still trying to find the one or two scenarios whereby Supernova can actually still get first. So I'm going to look at the foldy sheet real quick.
I'm just going to say, my play-by-play brain is thinking right now, and we've had two series, and both series are red versus purple teams.
Nice.
So if you have any thoughts on that, put which color you like the best or which team you like the best in chat, as we're going to see who can spam the most, Wildcard or Supernova, to support your team.
Yeah. All right. I tried to use Control F, but there's a lot of SNs currently on the sheet because there's still a lot of games left to be played. I'm still scrolling. Keep going.
Okay, keep going. Oh, we got intense ward gameplay going on right now.
We love
spotted
gameplay.
It out. 5 gold goes to Wildcard.
Wow. Oh my. Okay, I found it.
Perfect timing.
So, in order for Supernova to have gotten first, Fear needed to 2-0. All right, Dream is dead.
Dream's dead.
All right, Supernova can
Salute.
no longer...
07.
Yeah, Supernova can no longer get first. All right, they're now playing for second. They can still get second if we see FlyQuest drop some series. So this is mostly Supernova trying to defend their third place more than anything else. That is going to be the biggest effect if Supernova can take this one down. They're already locked for playoffs, so that is not a worry for either of these teams.
Get into the level 2 fighting for here in the bot side. It does look like Supernova will win out on that one. Diamond able to use the pressure that the Nautilus brings, and some levels will help Wildcard's bottom lane, but it's not going to come just yet. Kenvi does get spotted out on the top side of the map. Vision might play there, but both junglers pathing opposite.
Yeah. I mean, that does make the invade a little bit tougher, and you already see that Quacker has gotten the priority into Faisal. He is pushing in, but Kenvi does not really want to go up there to deal with that because of how much tempo he would lose, but he's going to do it anyway because if they get the kill, it makes it so much more worth it.
Ooh, get the ghost pop there. Quacker's going to try to get his best Udyr performance out here. Bot side, though, yeah, first blood does end up just going over. Now bot side, we go back to it, and Winnie, he can't find it. The lockdown finally comes through. The Tornado 2, and Winnie gets the return kill. 1-1 across the board.
Good patience on Winnie to throw out that stun, making sure that he does it after Diamond has already used up all the mobility, finds that kill, but Kenvi, he didn't really want to go make that play topside, but he will take that kill, and he's not going to get punished for it because Winnie has already gone for a full reset, not going to take away any of Kenvi's camps. And Diamond walking out with him means that he would be very safe. We'll take another look at this first blood because it ends up coming back to hurt Quacker quite a bit. Yes, he's going to get almost all of this, but I actually think he misses the cannon. I think he dies too quickly.
See here, look at the
and the melee?
Yeah.
That ends up being really bad. That's very important experience that you need to grab early on in this game, but here we see Winnie going for the play on the other side. The invade was reasonably easy to read, especially since you saw that Kenvi went back towards the top side, but after that, it does just become a situation where Diamond doesn't really have an opportunity to do anything because of all the crowd control that's going to come in after the flash.
I do like the preemptive dredge line there, just in case, because they could have potentially snowballed that onto Array if they would have kind of split focus, but Diamond making sure that he was the primary focus in that engage. Kenvi was looking mid against Darkwings and try to punish him, but flashes are still available, so it becomes very difficult. And we've already seen Kenvi get one mark at least, but that's something we saw earlier today Yuji struggled with, is just keeping tempo on that. We'll see if Kenvi can do a little bit better.
Yeah, the other thing that we do want to point out is Darkwings. This is a pretty good matchup for the Yone, but it's also a matchup where suddenly Shochi starting to fall very far behind. Now, we talked a bit about how a lot of Shochi's previous success came off the fact that he used to have Harry consistently playing around him all the time. That has no longer been the case now that he is no longer playing with the same player. And Kenvi is always a player that loves going for these very aggressive invades. He's the kind of player who asks his lane to play around him more than he tends to play around his lanes. And it has been a very different look for Shochi, as now Faisal might be a bit far, but no, Quacker completes the back.
Yeah, very, very close, but decides not to do it and just pulls the back. Faisal, though, still up here. Quacker is fully backed. Kenvi's taken the Hella Grubbies episode 1. Something about Kenvi that he's been very vocal about this year is, feels like he took a bit of a backseat on Immortals in the LCS. Not feeling like he could play to his confidence, not playing in the way that he felt confident in. And I think now we see that he has returned to some of that confidence, some of that Kenvi that we know and actually took the entire league by storm in previous years.
Yeah, we do see the trade coming through. Kenvi only able to get 2 of the grubs, so Winnie, even despite knowing that his opponent is on the far side, ends up being a pretty even trade overall. 2 of the grubs does mean that you are still playing for control over the grubs later on. But still, also 2 souls going over to Aaron. Kind of a wash overall so far on this game. And the player that I'm still looking, or the players, are Doxa and Darkwings. If they can start coordinating well over the next several minutes, if they can start coordinating well over the next several dragons, it's going to be a big opportunity for these 2 Wind Brothers to completely take over the game.
Wind Brothers.
The Wind Brothers.
The synergy built in. Also, just been really cool to see this wildcard growth from a collegiate perspective as well. Again, 4 members of this team from SLU in St. Louis, and some of that pre-built synergy really led to a great early start to the split. But consistency is definitely the key to keep an eye on.
Yeah, one of the conversations I consistently hear from my roommate Hawk is that there's a very clear top 6 in collegiate, and after that there's a bit of a fall off. But SLU, who is again most of Wildcard, and Maryville, who are the top dogs, and it's important to remember that SLU there plays with Surdy as a top lane instead of Quacker. So Supernova here is going up against a team that has been playing together for longer than most other rosters have in the Challengers League space. And like you said, Wildcard jumped out to a pretty strong early start because they already had that synergy built up.
That synergy comes into tow here as we see Aaron and Winnie running together now. As Aaron unlocked onto the map as this Senna to try to help out Darkwings as much as possible, but as well as Winnie. Trios, quad people, I guess, instead of trios coming to it for Wildcard. There is some conversation to be had about what we're going to be getting to the mid game here, though, because I do feel like Supernova get a lot more strength when they have every piece on the map and can take those forward engages.
Yeah. Oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, Diamond. Everybody gets one, says Spider-Man, and he might have just taken his first death, but no, it's not going to go down just yet. We do get a nice little shroud placed by Winnie, and Diamond not going to be aggressed on anymore. Quacker does make it out with a little thumbs up there, and very close call for Diamond.
Yeah, it's also a ghost for ultimate trade up on the top side, but yeah, Diamond, we saw something similar with Yuji happening earlier, but he was just able to turn it around almost instantly. But the big difference was the fact that Shochi already down to half HP and Darkwing still had access to the ult. That means that Aaron very free to move around the map and let Doxa get some of this solo EXP down the bottom side. What you doing, Shochi?
Shochi, he's got the Spiraling Despair down onto him. Feels like he was trying to set up for Kenvi and Diamond to wrap around, but instead Kenvi's just going to go for the Chicky Nuggies. And the wrap around on top side, actually, from Quacker to Faisal. Be a continued body bump between both top laners. They actually, Supernova making a play on Doxa bot side.
This is a potentially really tough dive unless Diamond hits level 6 here. He does not. Now he just hides out behind the wall. Kenvi's actually in trouble.
Yes, he's going to see. Okay, so the back actually coming out from Darkwing stops any of that forward movement, but he's still going to go through with the Fate Seal. And now Kenvi is going to pop that Land's Respite. Darkwings is not going to be able to stay much longer. Chains of Corruption comes back down, but here's Winnie. And here's Doxa. He's putting a Doxa diff on to start this series off, and that's going to be 2 kills to the Wind Bros as Array pops that Clan's Wildcard steam ahead.
Yeah, very aggressive look at a dive coming out from Supernova. Ends up getting turned around as Darkwings and Doxa, like you said, finds everything. And Doxa still has access to his ultimate, but they're not going to try and make the same mistake.
But you love to see some of those kills being spread across the team for Wildcard. In a composition where we said they just want to fight, and win. No defense to be had. It's going to be very important to get some of those kills onto those particular members. And that engage going to be even more powerful, as well as checking in. Like, Winnie has been able to deny stacks pretty heavily from Kenvi.
Yeah, and he will be able to stop another one, as Kenvi still only has the one. Now, we saw that Yuji basically never got his third one. He definitely got a second one previously. But looking at the rest of this, we are still seeing an opportunity. Aaron is kind of giving up on supporting Doxa, who is now all by himself.
Doxa steps forward, and that's the bane of all Yasuo's. He's going to try to get through Diamond here, but Kenvi is also on the way. The wind wall is going to save some time. He's just playing with them. He's being as annoying as any Yasuo could possibly be, but he'll finally go down, and there's that mark that Kenvi's been waiting for.
Yeah, he knew he was dead. The question was how much time could he buy, and now Wildcard trying to find something elsewhere, but an ultimate also goes out from Aaron. Doesn't find anything there. Should be able to get at least 1 or 2 plates here in the mid lane. But yeah, Aaron has kind of given up on supporting Doxa. It's all been about coming into the mid lane. Not sure how I feel about that overall. Yone is a little bit more level dependent than his brother.
A little bit. Like a little brother, big brother, kind of. I don't know how that really works in that regard.
I'm not sure what this metaphor means, but true. Yone is the big brother.
You know? Oh, Diamond weaving in there, that big old anchor, and Darkwing's going to try to use his ult to get out, and does. The snipe. Oh, it's not enough. That Airy actually going on to Aaron there might have helped save Darkwings.
Oh?
Fight, Faisal. He's going to use the casket. He's out of there. Easy stuff as the noodle fight continues. Down bottom side, the noodles will not be as soft.
Yeah, Darkwings does have access to the teleport in just a moment, but it's going to be too late.
It's a smite fight here. Oh, no, Kevy just grabs it anyway. Says, now the re-engage actually from
wow.
Diamond's already going down. Some of that AoE is working out in Wildcard's favor. Now Kenvi running for the hills. He can't get on the other side of the blast cone, and he's gone.
This is the Wildcard way, Lennon. This is what they love to do. They teleport Quacker down to so many plays around the 8 to 10 minute mark. This time it's about 12 minutes in, but he makes sure that that fight around the dragon is winning, even if they don't get the dragon itself. Now, Wildcard, they are playing with an early game lead, but the question then always becomes, can they continue to push it forward? They got another kill onto Darkwings. They got some more pressure, and now they can only get a maximum of 4 of these grubs, because I believe they only got 1 earlier on, so they can never get access to Twitch chat. Your support will not be able to help them this game.
Don't they tell you not to pay attention to Twitch chat?
I mean, I pay attention to the Void Mites because they look like Twitch chatters.
That's just rude, Joshi.
Twitch chat deserves it.
You hear that, Twitch chat? Get angry. Get mad.
Sure. But either way, Quacker is going to be running out of this one, and just to confirm, it will be 4 going over to the blue side. Thanks, production. The Quacker does need to be a little respectful. Can be in the wings.
Ooh, I do wonder now. We're getting positioning around bot side, still looking for those marks for Kenvi. One more is going to go down at least for those chicken nuggies. Positioning on mid, but there is no objective except for a Rift Herald coming up shortly. The redeploy from Wildcard to the top side to kind of utilize their strength is what I'm looking at, because they have 1,000 gold lead right now.
They do. Big thing, though, is Supernova do have a lot of tools that if they are able to dodge out on the ultimates from Darkwing to Doxa, they should be winning, but Quacker in trouble.
Ooh, Quacker gets knocked into Kenvi, and he's got a mark waiting for him. There you go.
Very important mark coming through, and not going to be able to find anything elsewhere on the map because Wildcard did not have any tools to play the rest of the map at all. Now, the gold lead down underneath 1,000, Wildcard can still try and play for this Rift Herald, but the fact that Whacker on this Udyr is not getting the lead like he was hoping to is already starting to put pressure on the Wildcard top side of the map. It's really becoming more and more about these two Wind brothers.
Speaking of, they've both completed twin swords in the Blades of the Ruined King, copied to the brothers. And we'll see if that actually provides that springboard for Wildcard.
Yeah, they have nearly identical builds. Doxa's just behind because he has been 1v2. Darkwings?
Ooh. Let's have a little bit of fight back in him, though. Blade of the Ruined King giving him some sustain. While this Rift Herald goes down, he's providing excellent distraction. That'll be another objective going the way of Wildcard.
Ooh. Yeah. With Kindred coming up towards the bottom side of that fight, I was actually really wondering if Darkwings and Doxa were going to go for the 2v2. Instead, Darkwing's moving down towards the bottom side of the map, but he's going to get cut off by Kenvi in a moment.
Really spotted out by the control ward, so Darkwing's going to take the long way around. Faisal's actually going to get some free hits onto this bottom side turret, potentially. Do some work on the outer side. We have about a minute and a half for the Dragon, so this could be big for Supernova to take away some of those defenses and at least keep priority there, because I think that's the big conversation now for this next Dragon is who's going to get that priority from mid lane.
Yeah, I also want to point out, interesting change on the most recent patch is Frozen Heart did take a couple of small nerfs. It has a little bit less armor and costs a little bit more money. But now, we need to just go with the Randuins, which really does work into crit-style builds, which is...
They're corralling him.
Not a lot. Faisal?
They're like sheepdogs around the sheep, and Faisal is a woolly one. As they're going to try to get the turret down here. TP is coming in. That's a big one. It's going to come in time, but maybe not enough. As all of a sudden, Faisal's health bar is just chunked from him, and the combo comes through. 2 kills over the Wildcard.
Really good flash coming out from Aaron as well to make sure that Faisal did not escape. And
Whacker. Gotta be a little careful there.
Taking a lot of damage. That should put Wildcard in a pretty dominant position around this next Dragon. They want to make sure that they can get that and continue getting these stacks. They benefit so much. With both of the Wind brothers, Yasuo and Yona, they really like these games going or the fights going longer and longer, where they can really leverage the fact that they don't really have cooldowns on any of their abilities. And the fact that they're going to be getting tankier if they can continue to stack up these Mountain Dragons will help out a lot. And Supernova already bailing out of that fight by sending Faisal to the top side.
Helps to not have mana, too. You just have so many resources available to you all the time. And getting gold into the right pocket seems to be Wildcard's ambitions here. Dragon is spawned. Wildcard have gotten priority from mid, so they'll head down there and take their second Dragon of the game. Meanwhile, Kennedy's looking topside against Darkwings.
So is Diamond. Darkwings will... Ooh, dodge the ult.
Oh, man. Darkwings, little sidestep there. It is under turret now. Diamond's just going to come in. Depth charge secures it. He's tanking it up beautifully. And a shutdown goes over. I also believe that was the 4th mark for Kenvi.
Yeah, it is number 4 coming through. That is a lot of pressure. Now Wildcard trying to play in the mid lane. Should not be able to get this turret because Shochi and Array have a lot of wave clear between them. One other thing we haven't been checking on, we've looked at the stacks from Kenvi a couple of times, is Winnie looking to potentially protect his own blue buff. Alright, it's fine. Is how many stacks the Senna has, right? We are at 17 minutes, so we should be expecting it somewhere in like the, I want to say about the 50s to 60s at this point. Maybe 70. Yeah, 61. So, well on track there as well, coming through from Aaron, so he is now in the part of the game where he can follow around the jungle and make sure that he's getting souls from every camp as well as the mid lane.
And again, Aaron is a guy who, when you talk to a lot of his teammates, feels like he's really stepped up to the table, stepped up to the plate here for the team, and especially in an ACL. He's had a lot of flexibility behind his playstyle, but he's been a consistent carry performer for Wildcard.
Yeah, one of the things that he was like before Challengers League is he was oftentimes just go for a bit of every fight, but now, Darkwing's in trouble.
I think Darkwings is suffering from a little bit of deja vu and not in the good way. Going to use his soul and bound to buy time, but he just goes down to Faisal.
And again, the team can do nothing when Darkwings has been going down. Last time they got the Dragon, but this time they're not even going to be able to make a play onto Shochi. We've seen this be an issue for Wildcard in the past. They will move out in one side of the map, and sometimes they will completely ignore the top side of the map because they're playing towards the bottom side. This time, when they are sending someone up towards the top side of the map, the rest of Supernova know nobody on Wildcard is going to be helping them.
They are looking at the mid lane now, though. Quacker has a decent flank, but I don't think it's going to matter. Dotting Shadow came away here a little bit late, and that's 2 kills given back over to Supernova. Starting to steamroll ahead here.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing before the Yasuo and the Yone are strong already, and so their gold lead evaporates. They were up several thousand, now they're down about 1,000 going over to Supernova, who have just been calling the bluff from Wildcard quite a bit. They just say, oh, you're going to try and go for that? Well, what if we had more people? What if we have an opportunity to go for this play? Wildcard are not necessarily the most reactive team, right? They aren't particularly good at reacting to their other teams, and as long as they have tempo, as long as they are in control of the map, they look fantastic. But this is definitely a spot where they are having to respond to the actions that Supernova are taking because they're pushing up when it's not their turn.
And a big saving grace for Supernova, all split long, and especially in this game, has been Kenvi. I think a much different performance than we saw in the Kindred earlier today, but specifically just feeling very confident to step forward in a lot of ways. Just keep pulling and pushing, at least against Winnie, in a lot of these ways in the jungle. And it's coming from a guy who has known a lot of success in this space in the past.
Yeah. I love the fact that as soon as the 20-minute mark hits, Supernova throws a ward over the Baron pit because they know if any team is going to do it, Winnie's going to call for the Baron right now because they have Double Blade of the Ruined King on their team. This is a team that would go for it if they thought your opponents were not ready. And now Wildcard, down a little bit of money, still have a lot of opportunity to do a lot of damage. They have a lot of ability to choose targets later on in the game, but their front line is currently at a spot where it is going to be melting to the damage coming through from Kenji and Array. They will not necessarily have the time to get to the point where the Wind Brothers are the most important characters in the game.
Got the wits in completed there, but yeah, it's a bit against the clock here. And we were talking about some of that proactivity early on. Still some serious scaling on Wildcard's side, but like you said, you just got to get there. And at this point, some of that stability is starting to fall out from underneath them. Kenvi gets the reset himself. Should be close to that 3rd item now as well. At least getting more components and resetting on the map because we have Dragon in under a minute.
Under a minute. This is a very interesting, 1v1 to see go on, and now it is suddenly not a 1v1 as Wildcard has a lot more members.
Unfair. The
Unfair.
3v1. Faisal actually has an angle here. Gonna burn that flash. He is ending up going down. Soul and Bound getting a little bit of safety for Darkwings too. Quacker was almost engaged on in mid lane by Supernova. They couldn't find it, and the lead stays in Supernova's hand.
And Supernova instantly go like, I wonder if they're doing the Baron. Need to make sure that is not happening, but they do see Winnie.
Ooh, he gets caught too. A little bit of slowdown there. Kenvi's got an angle. Aaron, Darkwings, they need to come save their brother.
Uh-oh.
They're going to get caught in the alcove here. Okay, they want to try to fight back. Array is caught by Doxa. He's going to burn the flash, but the exhaust has come out. Darkwings gets the Spiraling Despair on him, and he pops it on Winnie, too. Aaron is fighting over there. Meanwhile, Array is going down to a 1v2.
Here's a reinforcement.
Respite saves Kenvi. Kenvi blasts into the bush. Kenvi is outplaying the world right now. My God. 2 kills go over, but Wildcard are able to pull it out of the brink. As Shochi gets some distance, Diamond misses his hook, and Faisal goes back in. Wildcard are scrappy. I gotta give them that.
An incredibly chaotic fight coming through, and Doxa and Quacker getting there late are some of the big winners of this fight, but that just means the Dragon is still alive. Both teams need to go down there momentarily, and we'll get to see all of this again, except when the only flash still in the game is going to be Aaron. We'll take another look at this fight. The big thing starts off, Winnie and everybody else in top lane need to hide in the alcove because they know they have more people coming faster. And as soon as Doxa sees his opportunity to jump on top of Array, they know they can take him down, get to the fight, and make sure that they have a man advantage. But if all of that is happening, like you're saying, Kenvi absolutely massive in this fight, making sure that he stays alive for a long time, gets everybody else really low, and then by jumping in and out of all of these different fights, he's able to get the last hits onto multiple members.
Yeah, just the spacing there for me, the flash, things like that. The fact that Array got completely caught was pretty big. Oh, right back to it though. Carousel fight never stops here in the NACL as Supernova already halfway down on the Baron. Wildcard here to represent.
Yeah, Darkwings is still hitting the Dragon. This is a really big win for Wildcard as long as they do not lose the fight on the other side.
Try to watch out for Diamond's engage here. He's got the angle. He goes in onto Quacker. Going to take so much damage. Chains of Corruption, and there he goes. They got caught. They gave a soul over to Kenvi too. Dragon over to Wildcard, and now they got to move forward.
Yeah, that's 7 stacks already coming through for Kenvi. That is a lot of bonus damage and a second increase in bonus range. Wildcard are making a decision that they are going to be trying to contest the Baron. They have all the ultimates necessary to make this play worthwhile.
He's just still got one on the blue buff there, too. They are already back onto the Baron. Kenvi representing in full as Diamond goes in. He takes a little bit too much off that one as Kenvi's coming around the corner now, though, when he goes over the wall. Nice little Glacier Prison back. Darkwing's trying to kill Diamond there, but now Faisal has an engage, has an angle. He doesn't have any more to follow it up, though. He's still got distance, though. Nice little knockup from Doxa, and it might be the difference. Kenvi plus the Lamb's Respite. Shochi is doing some work there. Another double knockup. There's the Soul Unbound, as now on top of it. It's all gone for Wildcard. They lose everything, even though the Wombo combo looked good. Aaron and Doxa, the only ones left here.
Shochi has to play the range. If Doxa gets on top of him, Doxa can and will kill him.
Diamond goes for it over the wall. Yep, the snipe comes through. Shut down over to Shochi. And Spiraling Despair comes down too. The piercing arrow, and it's enough. The combo from range comes alive for Supernova.
And Quacker has to run away from that with the Ghost. Such a chaotic fight. We'll take another look at it. Now, one of the things I would have loved to see here from Darkwings, as the replay does not pop up, is I actually think he could have killed Kenvi outright. Make sure the Lamb's Respite never comes off, and that might put them in a better position as Quacker gets run down.
Oh, Quacker, it's all happening again. I mean, this literally just happened in mid lane a few moments ago. A couple ultis go his way, and he goes down. Now Baron started up by Supernova.
And this Baron is completely uncontestable. That's why we're going to be jumping into this replay. But watch this upcoming spot here where Darkwings has an opportunity to ult Kenvi from over the wall, but chooses not to. While Doxa is holding them in the airborne, he doesn't ult immediately, and Kenvi then has time to get the ultimate off, saving his life and Faisal's. But he ends up going in, he gets the kills anyway, but because Wildcard is already too low, there's not an opportunity for a re-engage.
It's a big difference there, but little minute things. Trying to save it for the back end after the Lamb's Respite, but little things make the biggest difference. Diamond flashing over and ends up being a little bit chaotic up here. Aaron trying to flash out, ends up going down to the long distance.
Yeah, the long range, pretty good coming out for play. But either way, Supernova maintains their gold lead, but it is still 3 dragons in the hands of Wildcard. Now, the Rally Cry Baron buff in Supernova's hands, this is where they need to start building a really big lead. They have the tools to try and shut down both Yasuo and Yone, but they want to have a gold lead to do it at the same time, and they are continuously playing against the infinite snacking from Senna. And this is why they want to take as many turrets as they can, so even if they lose a fight later on, the turrets will be a big barrier. It'll take too long for Wildcard to try and end the game.
Supernova onto a tier 2 tower down here. They still have Faisal in mid lane as well. They'll take that very, very quickly. Baron up still for a while. They'll look at another tier 2 here under Quacker's supervision. That won't be for much longer.
Hale doesn't have any damage, right? There's absolutely nothing that Quacker can really do in terms of actually clearing waves. He's just a tank as the engage comes through.
They see that Way is gone. They're going to go right in for it. It's a 4v5, but they've actually got Darkwings out. Doxa gets a kill on Array. Kenvi's splashing away now, too. He gets the Lamb's Respite off, though, but it's not going to look good for Supernova. They're getting burned down to a crisp. Dashing, dodging everywhere. Triple kill for the Doxa dip. Give them the Quadra here as they're looking for it. Quacker steals it away, but Wildcard have turned this game.
An incredibly disrespectful teleport coming out from Shochi in full vision of everyone on Wildcard. They immediately engage, and Shochi nowhere to be found for the fight. 50 seconds left until the upcoming dragon. All of the ultimates for Wildcard will be back up, but not everything will necessarily be around for Supernova. And crucially, Array no longer having summoner spells for the upcoming fight means that he will not be safe from any potential engagement. Shochi shows elsewhere on the map. Wildcard knows this is our go button. There's a flash from Array. He will not be able to survive the onslaught from Darkwings and Doxa next time.
Just a couple seconds of miscommunication there. Either, calling to go to the sideline, everybody back up, but Array was still stepping forward right there, and it leads to all this chaos. And giving time for Wildcard. That's the biggest thing, because we keep coming back to it. They just needed time. They just need items. They're starting to get there.
Yeah. Still 2,500 gold down as the dragon does spawn. Wildcard has the tools. 3 items on both Yasuo and Yone. They're in control of the dragon. This will be their soul.
Kennedy's stepping up now. Shochi trying to go with it over the wall, though. Into the pit now. There you go. Fate sealed, too. With the Spiraling Despair on top of it. So much damage. The double knockup. Supernova, though. They find what they needed. They single target focus. And now the dragon going down their way. Potentially. No, they're just taking the kills. Wildcard. They can't get the dragon. Oh, no. That's a full ace. Not a clean one. But Wildcard are off the map.
Got to give a lot of respect to Array during that last fight. He backed away. He knew with no flash, he is under a lot of threat from Darkwings and Doxa, but he dodges out on the Fate Unsealed, and that means that there is no opportunity to jump on top of this incredibly crucial AD carry. Now, Supernova, they don't have the Baron buff anymore, but they will be taking multiple turrets and multiple inhibitors here. It's not the end of the game, so Wildcard have another chance. But the fact that Array stays alive in that crucial fight gets them the Mountain Dragon, gets them 2 inhibitors, and sets them up perfectly for the upcoming Baron.
Yeah, I mean, they've ballooned this gold lead so mightily now with all of that. We'll take a look back at the dragon fight and how chaotic it got. But Wildcard, they were so close yet so far.
Yeah, with all of these melee champions coming through again, watch Array in this fight. He's not hitting. He's not doing anything because he knows as soon as the crowd control is down, that's his opportunity to come in. Instead, he allows Shochi to be the major damage dealer because he has the tools. He can hit all of these melee champions who are stacked on top of each other, and tragedy strikes here for a Wildcard. The Baron, or the dragon gets low enough that a smite could potentially pick it up, but it happens way too late.
I love Aaron just trying to wait for that last. He knows he's going to go down, trying to get that last auto attack on the dragon. Couldn't do it. Now Quacker stepping up to Kenby. Kenby wants some more damage to give out to Quacker. My God, he's doing so much. He can't chase him down, though. He's the deer. Faisal's trying to get an angle for the cask. Aaron's here to save him up, though. Wildcard are defensively handling this top side. It's the final bastion they have against Supernova.
It's all they really have. It's all they can really do. But with 45 seconds left until the Baron actually spawns, got to give respect to Darkwings on the other side for pushing out the wave. Means that the super minis there will take forever, and they have time to respond in the mid lane. So Wildcard can give battle. They're down 4,500 gold. The last couple of times that they've gone for these engagements, they struggled to get to Array, and now Array should have time for his flash to come up again before the Baron spawns.
Another thing, why we're seeing a lot of grit showed in this game, in this series as a whole, to start it off even in game number 1, is Wildcard trying to keep going, trying to stay and build that bridge. Darkwings trying to build the bridge over to the back line, can't find it. Ulti's going a little bit desync here for Wildcard, and I think that's the blood that Supernova needed to smell to go forward, because a double kill for Array. A TP on the flank here from Faisal and Wildcard. You're circling the edge of a dark abyss, and Aaron's going to be the first one to fall in.
Darkwings trying to get out, but so far so good. Supernova, they thought they would have an opportunity to end this game. It was a little bit of a struggle with Shochi's teleport, but they come and they stand strong. And now Shochi trying to finish on Doxa one last time.
Doxa's still Yasuo, though. I love the little 1v1 they're having. A little fun action between the mechanical players, but it is Supernova holistically turning this game around. They had a little bit of shakiness, but they end up with an over 7,000 gold lead and a game 1 in their hands.
Good stuff coming out for Supernova. They need every win they can get. They can't get first anymore, but the fact that they are still trying to fight for that second place spot in the regular season, get that better seed, will help them out quite a bit. Supernova locking down Wildcard towards the bottom half of the teams that are going to playoffs, and so Supernova very firmly in the top 3.
Big stuff from Supernova in game number 1. Wildcard were showing their fangs, though, and we'll see if they can bear those once again in game number 2. We're stepping away for a little break. We'll be back.
Introducing the new foot-long sidekicks at Subway. Try the warm and delicious foot-long cookie, foot-long pretzel, or foot-long churro.
Before this guy won this, he actually won this. And now these guys, they're trying to do the same.
He's looking for the killer instinct. He's going
Basu!
in. He finds 2. He finds 3.
Basu, you are utterly ridiculous. This guy is also trying to do what that guy did. And he didn't win one of those, but he did win this.
Welcome to the new era. A toast to our champions, Disguise.
This guy played one split of LCS and then made semis at Worlds.
It's been a long journey, but I'm happy to be here now.
He's always been really good, but he finally made the comeback. Oh, and he did it with this guy. This guy won Academy, and he had some dreams.
I want to be like the best NA mid laner to go to Worlds, right?
Dokla, however, very, very low. Reinforced by the Senna ultimate. And the Pop Blossom is so awesome.
This kid? Yeah, this kid. He actually didn't win an Academy, but a lot of people thought he was good, and boy, were they right. This guy made Worlds his very first year as a player. It took him a while to get back. He even played with this kid. But then, they did all of this together.
Nobody thought they'd win LCS. Nobody thought they'd beat G2. It's time to change your mind.
You know all of these names, but do you know the names of who's next? The future of the LCS starts right after the LCS. Welcome to Challengers League.
Get up on your feet, this is a shakedown.